Hey, welcome into another Whoosh video here with me, Louie. Today we're going to talk about Rhode Island Comic Con. That's right, my recent trip to Rhode Island Comic Con was both a success and an aggravation. So, let's take a look at it. Alright, so to be completely honest, Rhode Island Comic Con and I have a love-hate relationship. I love Rhode Island Comic Con. I always have a blast when I go there, or when I look back on it, I should say, because when I'm there, it gets kind of frustrating at times. A lot of the footage I captured to show you guys is during times where VIPs got to get in a little bit early. I did spring for a VIP pass this year for a couple of reasons, and we'll discuss those, but in this video you'll see that there's not that many crowds. One was from earlier in the day and one was towards the end of the day. And also shout out to Christian. I'll put his Instagram tag below. He cosplayed as Jey Uso, and I had to take a video yeeting with him. So it was fun, it was frustrating, and overall it's exactly what I've come to expect from Rhode Island Comic Con lately. They jam in a ton of celebrities, which is awesome. Don't get me wrong, I love it. And I say that as somebody who went there and met a total of 9 or 10 of them over the span of the weekend. Being VIP kind of helps with that, kind of doesn't, depending on how you're doing with the lines, and how the people managing the lines are paying attention to whether VIPs are there or not. So, yeah, it kind of goes back and forth, and I am a big fan of letting some VIPs go and letting some general admission go, because I think both groups need to be valued as close as possible. I get VIPs pay extra for that extra service, which makes some sense, but you don't want to completely shut out your general admission attendees either, and I think Rhode Island has struggled with that in the past, but it was nice to see them kind of try to balance that out in some ways. Where I have an issue is when you're a VIP and a line gets capped. They have no way of making sure you can get back in. Literally, the only advice they give you is to go walk around the floor, give it about some time, give it about an hour, maybe 15 minutes, depending on how bad the line is capped, right? And then you come back and hope to get back in again. And it's like, there has to be a system where if you check in, you can get a number to come back later. Like, that just makes sense. Telling people to just walk until maybe they get lucky and the line can open up is frustrating. And that happened to me and my wife when we met Sam Witwer. We kept trying to get in his line. It kept getting capped. Eventually, we were able to get in his line because he had a break for lunch or something. And the line, everybody left because they didn't want to wait in line while he was on lunch. And then the line started to gather back up again. And we were able to jump into his line then. And still, we had to wait like another hour in the line just to get there, but we at least guaranteed we would get him. And he was really important to us because we both love the Clone Wars, and he's Darth Maul in the Clone Wars. He also does a whole lot of other voices. He's the son in the Mortis arc of Clone Wars. But he's just really, really good, and it was really, really cool to go and meet him. We had met so many of the other Clone Wars cast members, from like T.C. Carson, who was Mace Windu. We met Phil Lamar, who was Kit Fisto. James Arnold Taylor, who's Obi-Wan, Matt Lanter, Anakin. I'm forgetting Ashley Eckstein, who is Ahsoka, who is super awesome, super nice. So we've literally met so many of the cast. And we're like, oh, we have the chance to meet Maul, who is crucial in the later seasons of it. Let's absolutely jump on that. And that's one of the reasons we got VIP. And I say that one of the reasons was him, because the other reason was John Bernthal, who up until late Thursday night was still listed on the website as attending. I have a poster I started back in 2017 that Charlie Cox signed. It's a Daredevil one, but it's a print, and on it Daredevil actually has the Punisher logo on his chest piece. So I got that signed by Charlie at Fan Expo Boston. My plan was to go to Rhode Island Comic Con that November and have John Bernthal sign it, except he canceled on that one. So eventually I also now have it signed by Vincent D'Onofrio from when I went to Rhode Island Comic Con a few years ago, and I was like, oh cool, I'll finally get John Bernthal to sign it, it'll be done, I'll never have to take it out again. Cool, awesome. Looked Thursday afternoon, still listed. Get to the con Friday because he's supposed to be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Go to find him. Turns out he canceled late Thursday night, and Rhode Island never put out an update on any of their social media to let anybody know. I think that's frustrating, and I think it stems from them not wanting to get negative comments, not wanting to see all the negativity, have people get influenced by the negativity of the con. And I think that's a mistake on their part. I think everybody's going to have a complaint because everybody wants to complain about something at some point in time. So no matter what you do, they're going to complain. They're complaining about people not putting out announcements. I'm sitting here telling you I'm frustrated because I looked to make sure he'd be there, and then all of a sudden he wasn't there anymore when I went there. And I'm not going to follow something consistently to check, like to go to their website and make sure that I'm looking to see, still there 5 minutes before I want to go meet him. Like, that's frustrating. If I look the day before he's still there, and then he cancels the last night, like, you would think an announcement would be important enough for them to put out there, especially when he's one of the people who's drawing people into the con. So I think their transparency and their communication could be better. Just like I think their organization of where they place people could be better. Like I said, they kept capping the lines because they squeezed all of the celebrities into a very small area, gave them a very small amount of space to have lines, and then on an entire separate section they had an entire floor dedicated to photo ops. And I've heard in the past they had issues with photo ops, and that's why they did it. But I actually think one of the better things they did was one of the years I went, they had the entire third floor just all celebrities to meet, and they had a smaller amount of celebrities on the convention floor with the vendors and the artists and stuff, just to give things some more space and to spread them out. That to me makes sense, because you want to have the celebrities there, you want to get your vendors to have guests coming through, you want to do all of those things. So I just think they need to figure out some sort of balance to what they're doing, because I don't think this year worked at all. I think they undersold what the celebrities were going to do that they had on the convention floor. They might have oversold on photo ops. I don't know. I know photo ops are a big money driver for them because it's quick. You just get everybody in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. Less overhead. I don't know. There's something they have to be able to do to be able to fix everything for everybody. So, I feel like I've gone on enough of a negative rant about everything that I thought they could have improved. I did have a really good time. Shout out to Bobby from Bobby's Retro World. We hung out with him for a bit. And that was really cool. I got to meet two of my childhood heroes, the Hardy Boys. If you watched WWF back in the day, yes, WWF, because that's what it was then, now WWE. But if you watched it back in the day, you saw the classic tag team matches between Edge and Christian, the Dudleys, and the Hardys. Always loved the Hardys. Was a huge, massive Jeff Hardy fan. And I always remember I had this quote up for the longest time on my wall as a kid, and it was, "It's your body, use it and use it, because one day you're going to lose it." And that was from Jeff. And I had the chance to meet him and tell him, like, that quote still sticks with me to this day. I love it. And it was cool to meet him and get a picture with him and Matt and be able to just absolutely nerd out. And one of the cooler things is right now they're the TNA Wrestling Tag Team Champions. They had the belts, and you could take a picture with them too. So that was absolutely awesome. Getting to meet Michael Mando, who was Matt Gargan in Spider-Man Homecoming. He was absolutely phenomenal. Wicked nice guy. It was his first con ever, so he was really curious about like how everybody was. And actually, my wife came to the con. My wife came to the con with me, and so did my sister. So my wife went to go get in line for Matt Lillard and save a spot for us. So it was me and my sister, and he was asking me and my sister about like how many cons we go to, like all of that stuff. And he was just a very genuinely personable person. He's got some really cool sounding upcoming projects on Amazon Prime, and I believe some other areas. So go check him out and support him. I cannot tell you how nice of a guy he really was. It was absolutely awesome to get to meet him. Something really cool we got to do was, like I said, go get in line for Matt Lillard. So we got to meet Matt Lillard next, and my wife really wanted to meet him for playing Shaggy and Scooby-Doo. So now we have a Scooby-Doo poster signed by Matt Lillard, which is really cool. I wanted to meet him because I genuinely liked him in Scream. I think he's phenomenal, and I love the work he does for D&D with his company Beetle and Grimm. Like, he does a phenomenal job for that, and he's expanded into magic stuff as well. So really happy to be able to meet him. Wicked nice guy, so personable. He walked through the lines. I'm pretty sure I watched him go and take a kid over to, they had a Mystery Machine van there on the floor. He went over with a little kid to take a picture by the Mystery Machine. It was awesome. So personable. He was wearing a Dodgers shirt. Dodgers fan. As a Sox fan, it was a Mookie Betts shirt, so can't be too mad. Still a little hurt by Mookie leaving, but I still like Mookie, so it's cool. On top of that, my wife got to meet one of her childhood idols, Steve Burns, who you would know from Blue's Clues, but you might also know from Young Sheldon. And fun fact, he also did the theme song for Young Sheldon. He was wicked nice. Took some really great photos with her. Really awesome. I know I've mentioned the Clone Wars stuff on here already. We met Sam Witwer, Darth Maul, but kind of connected to Clone Wars, more so Bad Batch. We also met Michelle Ang, who voices Omega on Bad Batch. I love Omega. Love all the clones. So having met D. Bradley Baker before, had to meet Michelle Ang and complete that loop. Super sweetheart. She's from New Zealand. She was telling us how the arena that part of the convention is held in was one of the biggest arenas she's ever been able to go into. And I was like, did anybody tell you that was like a minor league arena? And I was like, I'm not trying to be mean, but like, it's a massive arena, and for us, that's considered minor league. It's crazy to me. But it was super cool. Met some artists while I was there too. This was all Saturday. Met Joe St. Pierre, who keep an eye out for. I'm going to have a What Am I Reading, because I'm reading one of his books, and that'll also feature a small quick interview with him in it as well. So that's pretty cool. I really enjoyed meeting him. I bought a Venom print from him where he actually drew an original Spider-Man on it. So really awesome cool print to add to my comic art collection. And I say print, but it's like 80% print, kind of also a real piece of art because he drew. So really, really cool. And on top of that, I met Fabian Nicieza, I think is how you say it. He was one of the co-creators of Deadpool with Rob Liefeld. And I first met him getting him to sign a cover for Bobby from Bobby's Retro World. And he's not an artist, but he will draw a Deadpool on it for you if you ask him. So Bobby had me go get him one of those here, and this is what it ended up turning into. And it was just so funny to me that I literally went back on Sunday and had him do one for me that I then had Bobby grade. So we're going to be getting that graded. And that'll come back in soon. I'm super pumped for it. It's awesome. I can't tell you enough how funny I thought it was. And to me, I've met Rob Liefeld in the past. Had an experience with him. It wasn't anything bad. Like, it was just there. Got to meet him. Fabian was hilarious. And you could see that as the writer of Deadpool, he's the personality behind Deadpool. Like, his wit, his comments, like, all of that was Deadpool. Like, even when I asked him for a photo, and my wife was... Even when I asked him for, like, a photo, and my wife went to go take it, he's like, well, if you want a picture with this ugly mug, that's your choice. So, he was wicked, wicked funny. And I just had... They're both two great interactions with two fantastic creators. And I'm not going too deep into Joe St. Pierre because we're going to do that when I do the What Am I Reading. But phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal to get to meet both of them. And speaking of artists, I did get to see Jeff Hardy actually he was offering original art at the table, and I got to see him actually work on some of it, and I snapped just a quick picture. So awesome to see that too. So shout out to all the artists out there. You guys do amazing work. Can't hype up that enough. And then on Sunday, we also met Tatiana Maslany, who is She-Hulk. And originally, we actually met Pug from She-Hulk first back at Terrificon in 2022. And he was super great. And we were like, we like She-Hulk. It might not be the most popular show on the channel, but both my wife and I like She-Hulk. So we made it a priority to make sure we saw Tatiana Maslany. And they had Patty Guggenheim, who you might know as Madison from Madison and Wongers. So we had to go meet her too. They were both so phenomenally nice. It was a pleasure to get to meet both of them and talk to them and tell them like we enjoyed the show, because I feel like there's a lot of negativity out there around the show. So it was really cool to talk to them and just kind of show them that there are fans and people do appreciate the work they put into it. So with that being said, there were a couple of other purchases at the con this weekend. One of them would happen to be something my wife picked up for me because during our recent Japan trip, I admitted to becoming a fan of Rich Rider after reading some of the books on that trip. Well, what did she pick me up? She picked me up a Nova #1. It's an 8.0, but it is the first appearance of Nova and Rich Rider. So I now own the first appearance of Rich Rider and the first appearance of Sam Alexander as Nova. So pretty cool to add that to the collection. Hard to get this one in a high grade because of all of the black on the cover here, going right up to the spine. So they were pretty stoked to add it, and I can't thank her enough for it. So thank you. But yeah, no, very stoked to add it in. And this was from J&S Collectibles. You can find a link to them in the description below. And then another big purchase from the weekend, this one I made for myself, is actually Amazing Spider-Man number 238, which you might recognize as being the first Hobgoblin. I've wanted this book for a while, and shout out to Fantasy Unlimited Comics. You can find their link below. They have an eBay store and a Facebook page where you can follow them. They were super nice to talk to. They yeah, they hooked me up with a great copy of this book for a great price. I can't complain. One of the cool things about it, and you'll see this in some of the up close photos, is there's actually a stamp on the cover, which is complimentary copy, which, as far as I know, usually means someone in-house at Marvel who was like an editor or staffer of some kind owned this copy, and they weren't really supposed to resell it. And that was one of the things that drew me to it. Is I think that's a cool little piece of history to have. I don't know whose copy it was, to be completely honest. It doesn't tell me anywhere. But I think it's really awesome that it's there. So, yeah, to me, that was cool. So those are my two big pickups for that. And, yeah, I mean... Oh, actually, I forgot. I didn't really forget. But I did actually also happen to buy some stuff from Rocket Props. Rocket, a.k.a. Jacob, runs this amazing booth where he has all of these tools to help you with your cosplaying, help you build them, repair them, whatever you need to do. He created this awesome tool called the bevel, which helps you angle your knives at the right angles based on the patterns, without having to like twist your wrist, and makes things so much smoother. So something that my wife and I have been wanting to really get into more is making cosplays, going to cons, cosplaying, just because cosplaying brings a lot of joy to people, and that's something we want to get into. So we saw his booth. We went over, I think, day one, and we ended up buying an airbrush, the cleaning kit, and a few other odds and ends. And then we actually went back and bought some more stuff from him. We bought like sanders, we bought a sharpening tool, and by the end of it we were like, oh, can we interview you for my YouTube channel? So I'm going to end with saying make sure to check out Rocket Props, but also stay tuned for this interview that's coming up now with Jacob from Rocket Props, and you can find the links for all of his stuff in the description below. And yeah, we'll see you here next time. So stay tuned for the interview, though. I'm here with Jacob from The Bevel to give you a little bit more insight on his product. So we have a demonstration coming up to show you and give you more of the details on it, but is there anything you wanted to kind of let everybody know ahead of time?
Sure, yeah. I made these tools so that cutting EVA foam is more accessible and easier to do for both beginners and experts. Anyone with wrist issues, hand issues, it should make it a lot easier so that you can get into cosplay, because it's a ton of fun.
All right, and where can they find your stuff?
You can find all of my stuff on any of my socials, so it's at Rocket Props, on Instagram, TikTok, and you can go to my website. It's www.rocket-props.com.
All right, awesome. Well, make sure to check out the demo that we're going to have following this, and check out his stuff, because we bought some here, so can't hurt to get some.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
This tool's called the bevel. It takes a normal X-Acto knife, and it lets you set your angle of cut 15-degree increments, 0, 15, 30, 45, left or right-handed. And what happens a lot when you're cutting foam or using a knife like this in general is that you get this death grip, right? You tense up your wrist. So what I did one year is I broke my wrist in an unrelated incident, and I had some issues cutting my costumes. So I prototyped this tool because I found that there wasn't a tool that existed. But as an example, I can do this with like very little pressure.
And you get to keep your angle.
And it keeps your angle, and it comes out basically perfectly consistent.
Okay. How much those run?
Those are 30. Would you like to try it out?
Yes.
So the trick is, don't treat it like an X-Acto knife. Okay. When you use it, you're going to place it down. Pick your angle first. Mm-hmm. Then you're going to place it down on your material flat. I like to tap it into the cutting mat. And then the main point is to provide consistent downwards pressure, keeping the base flat on the material, and then you'll get a good cut.
Wow. That's fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah. I do have a version that takes the snap-off style blades too, if you do prefer that. Yeah, I would prefer. It fell on the floor one moment. Yeah, so it takes
That's fantastic.
large snap-off style blades.
Okay.
Same function, but I'm not gonna let you try this one because takes a little bit more practice. But if you get good enough at it, you can do 60-degree cuts.
Okay.
Which, if you tried to do that by hand, you would never get it.
All right. Do you happen to sell any of those?
I do. These are 40.
I will take one of those.
Okay. It's nice because it goes a lot slower.
Yeah.
And if I miss,
You don't get those nicks.
you do get little nicks, but like I can buff that out,
Yeah.
like no problem. And yeah, like I said, it's slower, but you can also reverse the direction, which is really nice.
Okay.
Because sometimes on foam, it sort of has a grain,
Yes.
so you want to be able to go against the grain to get that nice surface finish. So that's just regular old post standard. Let's see what else I got. Got plenty of fabric shears, perfect fabric.
I'm not so much on another question. I see you've got the third one here.
Yes.
Try to. What's the third one?
Yeah, so the third one is called the Bevel Utility. That one's designed for like box cutter blades and razor blades. It's really good for like harder materials, so leather, Sintra, stuff like that.
All right.
Because the thicker blade is really important. It doesn't, it won't bend the blade when you do angles. This is a self-contained airbrush compressor.
That's fantastic.
So if you do any airbrushing, you don't have to worry about the hose, you don't have to worry about the tank, the water filters, all that. And the compressor will attach to any airbrush.
That's pretty cool. So this is one of the sharpener. Would that be for the blades?
Yes, so I've got two types. This guy, it's a monster. It's not quite heavy. But the way I usually use it is because it's so heavy, just stick it on a bench, and when you need to, do a couple of passes, it doesn't move, stay right there.
Okay.
Just don't drop it on your foot.
Yeah.
I did that. Not very fun. And then I have a small folding sharpener as well. Just like it, even on hand, folds up.